Hi, my name is Lance Mohr, and I'm a real estate agent in Tampa, Florida, and also a new home specialist. I want to do this video to help give you some tips and advice when buying or viewing new homes in Tampa, or for that matter, anywhere. Buying a new home is completely different than buying a pre-owned home, and you have to look at things a lot different because how it works. Pre-owned homes it's pretty easy. So I'm going to break this video into several different areas. I'm going to talk about advantages and disadvantages of buying a new home over a pre-owned home, quality versus quantity, land, not buying land, but land that the new home sits on as far as the size and the location. Should you use a realtor or should you not use a realtor? How to make the most money when buying a new home, because there's definitely some tricks you want to know if you want to make the most money. Questions you need to ask the builders. In other words, doing your due diligence. And then finally talk a little bit about warranties and what you could do months or years after the warranty ends to get builders to do certain things. So let's start off and first talk about new versus pre-owned and what are the advantages and disadvantages. When people are buying a house or an automobile or a lot of different things, it's not always just about the price. And I know a lot of times when people are looking at homes, even pre-owned homes, it comes down to price, price, price. But you have to ask yourself when buying a new home, it's not just price. You have to look at it and say, okay, well, what's the price? And not just the price of the home, but what are the fees? Maybe if it has CDD fees or homeowners association dues, but what are the utility costs involved? And also, what is it going to take to get the home ready, or what do you have to do into it? In other words, do you have to put a new roof on in 5 years? Will you have to, replace the hot water heater? What maintenance are you going to have to do that's going to be coming up? A lot of people don't look at that, and it's very important, especially when it comes to the utilities. Let's take two homes, one built in 2000 and one built in 2010, because the home built in 2010 is very green, is very energy efficient. It's going to have a lot less utility bills than a home built maybe 95 or 2000 or even 2005. You could get a home in the summertime, a home built in 2000 and let's say two, it could have utility bills of $280 a month, where a home that's newer, maybe built in 2010, 2014, might have utility bills almost half that. So you have to really look at the whole picture when buying a new home. Plus, it's new. There's, depending on what stage you buy it in, you could get everything you want in the home, the color cabinets, the type of cabinets, the flooring you want, whether it's wood or tile or carpet. I mean, you have a lot of different choices that you can make. So there's definitely advantages and disadvantages. Of course, the disadvantage to a new home is, depending on what stage you buy that new home in, is what's the development going to look like. And we'll get into that a little bit later. The second is quality versus quantity. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. I don't mean that you can't have a quality builder that builds a piece of junk, and I'll get to this in a little bit what I mean, or a quantity builder that builds a great home. What I mean is this: you need to ask yourself when looking around, looking at homes, if you walk into a home and you see a home and you say, oh, this is a nice home, that's more of a quantity type of home. If you walk into a home and you look at it and say, wow, this is really nice, that's more of a quality type of built home. It's no different than cars. If you want to go out and buy a car that's quality, you're going to probably be in a Mercedes-Benz, maybe an Acura, a Legend. If you want a little bit more conservative of a car that doesn't have all the bells and whistles, you might be in a Hyundai, a Kia, Honda, etc. So you get the point. Now, let me give you an example, and I'll just use an example in New Tampa of a subdivision. And there's 3 builders in this section of the subdivision. In the first section, there's Centex, and they're a strict volume builder. They target first-time home buyers. And then you have Morrison Homes. Now they're called Taylor Morrison. And then you have Cardell. They're three separate builders. To give you an idea, if you go and you look at the Syntex home, they're going to be in smaller lots. They're going to be in 50-foot lots by about 110 feet deep. They're going to be, the elevation outside is just going to be very flat. There's not going to be a lot to it. The roof pitches are going to be, I don't know if you could see, sort of like this. Not much of a pitch to the roof. When you walk inside, they're going to be 9'4", they call those 10-foot ceilings. They're going to have fluorescent lights, cheap countertops, small cheap cabinetry, vinyl floors. It's just going to be a cookie cutter home. Basically, it's your basic home that you get. Now, when you go up to Morrison, it gets a lot different. You go from 50-foot lots to 60-foot lots. So the lot sizes are bigger. They're generally a little bit better lots, not just the size, but the location of the lots are a little bit better. And when you look at the elevation of the home, it's just a lot nicer than what the Syntex is. If you look at the roof pitch, and I'll get into why roof pitch is important in a minute. The roof pitch on a Syntex might be like this, and in a Morrison, it's a little bit higher roof pitch. And the reason is because their ceiling height is higher. It's 11, 12 feet. So it's going to require more of a roof pitch. When you walk in, you start to see some plant ledges, you start to see nicer cabinetry, nicer flooring. Now, I'm not really necessarily talking about the cosmetics as I am actually the home, the quality of the home itself. The components that they use in the home are generally a little bit better. And then when you walk into a Cardell, again, it's completely different. Cardells aren't on 50 and 60-foot lots. They're in 65-foot lots by 120 feet deep. The elevation is really dynamic. I mean, you could tell when you're looking at it, it's a Cardell. Especially the roof pitches are like this. They're not like this or that. I mean, they're high roof pitches. When you walk inside, you're going to get wowed. You're going to walk in and you're going to see vaulted 14-foot ceilings. You're going to see all kinds of columns, rounded corners, plant ledges, art niches, much nicer cabinetry and countertops. Generally speaking, what it is, when you get with different builders, and when I say builders, I'm talking the company itself, whether it's a Syntex, a Morrison, a Cardell. Everybody pretty much knows, or they should know, that's in the real estate business that sells new homes. A lot of the builders like Syntex, Pulte, KB are training grounds for a lot of people. When you start to get into higher quality builders like the Cardells or Southern Crafted or ones like that, then you generally start to get a little bit better sales rep. And I don't mean this in a bad way, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking generally. You tend to get builders that are generally a little bit better, and you tend to get architects that are better. It's just the whole process is a little bit different because they're going to a different type of clientele. So it's really important to keep that in mind. I'll give you an example. I live in a Cardell. I was talking to a rep several months back, and I was telling him, I said, man, I just don't see these high 14-foot ceilings. I know you guys do them. I know MI has a couple plans with them. And he said, well, that's because in our homes, for us to do that 14-foot ceiling, it cost us, their cost was $20,000. And I mean, it means a lot when you walk into the home. It's gorgeous. There's just a lot of volume. So keep that in mind, quality versus quantity. A lot of times people think, oh, I'm going out and I'm buying a custom home and they're getting a really, really good builder. A lot of times that's not the case because a lot of people who are buying $1 million or $2 million home, they don't have time to monitor it like someone who might be buying a $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 home. And it's not just what you see, but it's behind the walls a lot of times and what you don't see. What grade of wood are they using? Are they using a grade 1 wood? Are they using a grade 2 wood, which is average? Are they going really low end with a lot of knots and bows and using a grade 3? And that might not mean a lot to you right now, but 5 years down the road or 7 years down the road, because wood takes 7 years to completely die, when that little knot is a bigger knot and you have a bulge or protrusion in your wall, it's going to make a big difference. Not only that, but when they hire people to do the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC, all those people are just generally better. If you have a little kink in your attic in the duct system of the HVAC, that could mean $10 a month just for that little thing. So just keep these things in mind. A lot of times in building, like in life, you get what you pay for. So let's talk a little bit about land, because a lot of times people don't really understand land. I get a lot of times people will come to me and they'll say, I don't want a real big home. I want a smaller home, but I want a real big lot. And builders generally don't do that. Let me sort of explain how land works. Let's say you have a piece of dirt and it's a lot and it's 50 feet wide, and they're all 50 feet. And let's say that cost $50,000. And then next door you have, right next to it, you have a 60-foot lot that costs $60 and a 70-foot lot that costs $70,000. Of course, everybody's going to want the 70-foot lot with the smaller home that they want. But how builders build is they usually figure the lot value is 4 to 5 times. So in other words, or 20 to 25% of the purchase price. So if you have a $50,000 lot, the builder might average $200,000 to $250,000 homes there. But on a $60,000 lot, they're averaging $240,000 to $300,000 homes there. On a, or $260,000, I should say, but you get the point. On a $70,000 lot, they're averaging, starting off at $280,000 to $350,000 homes. So you could see the bigger the lot, the bigger the homes, because they have to make their spread. We'll get into the spread a little bit later and how that works. But as you could sort of see the difference, that's why a lot of times if you're looking at a subdivision, example, the Syntexes are on 50-foot lots, the Morrisons are on the 60-foot lots, and the Cardells are on the 65-foot lots. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at things, and you're looking especially in a subdivision. Plus, there's a lot of other variables, you know, how close it is to highways and amenities, etc. So now let's talk about, should you use a realtor? Now, of course, you're going to say, well, yeah, but you're a real estate agent. Of course you think I should use a realtor. Well, first let me tell you a story that I had, and I would say take this with a grain of salt. When I first started in the business, my first week, I got a call from a gentleman, and his name was David, and he was looking for a home, and he called me up, and I asked him, I said, what are you looking for? What do you want? And we went over everything. We talked for about 5 minutes. And then he said, well, I'm going to be buying the new home. And I said, great. Do you want representation? He said, no, that's okay. I'm going to go to the builder. I think I could get it for more money. If I don't use a real estate agent, I could get a better deal. And I say, I completely understand that. If you could get a better deal, that's fine. I know where you're coming from. Let me explain something to you and take what I say with a grain of salt. And he said, okay. So he listened. And I said, all right, let's say that you're with the builder, and 5 people have a problem with their home, and 4 of them have real estate agents, and 1 of them does not, you. I said, who do you think the last person on the totem pole is? And he said, well, and I said, you're right, you. I said, okay, so now 2 of those problems get resolved, and 2 more problems come up, and they have real estate agents. So we're back to five different people with problems. I said, who's the last person on the totem pole? And he said, well, and I said, you're right, you. I said, see, you have to understand this is a business, and builders look at it that way. 70% of all their business comes from real estate agents. They're putting on luncheons and all kinds of stuff to get the real estate community to their homes to see their product in the different neighborhoods. I said, so you're going out there, let me ask you a question. I said, in the next 5 years, how many homes do you think you're going to buy through this builder? And they were using a builder that probably every single person would recognize who it is. They're one of the largest in the nation. And he said, well, in the next 5 years, probably just this one. And I said, you think the builder might know that? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay. I said, let's just say in the next 5 years, 10 years, how many people do you think you're going to refer to that builder? And he said, well, and I said, yeah, probably nobody, huh? And he said, yeah. And I said, you think the builder might know that? And he said, well, yeah. And I said, look, this is a business. I said, I could sell 1 home with this builder a year. I could sell 5 homes with them a year. I could sell 5 homes in 10 years. I could sell 50 homes in 10 years. I said, the builders want my business and other realtors' business. I said, now they know who the players are in the new home business. You know, that's just sort of a tip. All the builders know. They know who the people are and if the agents know what they're doing. So I said, look, I said, it just comes down to, you're not going to get a better deal. Let me explain why. And then you could go to the builder and you could talk to him about this. Every October and November, and this is just how it works with pretty much every builder in the nation. Most builders, and we'll assume their fiscal year ends December 31st because most of them it does. Every October or November, depending, they put their budget together. And they put their budget together and they look at, okay, well, how many subdivisions are we going to be going in next year in this area? In other words, the regional manager does this. How many subdivisions are we going in? How many homes are we building? What's the average spread in those homes? What's our marketing budget? What's our advertising budget? What's our budget for the sales representative? What's our budget for the real estate agents? You know, and they have all this budget and they put their projections together. So they have everything together. Now, when a buyer walks into the builder, they want to work with the realtor because they know they could bring them other business. I mean, I've had builders that I've sold 12, 19 homes in 1 year to. So, you know, they want that. And it doesn't make any difference whether you use a realtor or whether you don't. It's already figured in the budget. It's like calling the sales manager and saying, hey, if I cut the sales rep out over here, can you give me 2%? Because I'm not going to use them either. I'll write the contract up myself. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. So that's just how the building business works. And you have to look at it. I did have a client that actually did talk to a builder, and the builder cut me out. And then 4 months later, well, about 3-4 months later, he called me up, told me the whole story. And I said, well, why are you calling me? And he said, well, the builder gave me the shaft and they basically took all my money. And I was hoping you could help me get it back. And I said, well, I could sell you another home with a reputable builder. I said, but by the way, that builder wasn't reputable in the beginning. So if they're willing to, you know, give the real estate community a shaft, you better believe they're going to give you the shaft as the consumer. That's just business. That's just how it works. So I had another one. I'll make this real quick, lady. Her and her husband called me up. He called me up and he said, hey, we talked to you about a year ago. You're really nice, informative. We want to buy a new home. This is where we're looking. And I said, okay, is this a subdivision? And is this the builder? And he said, yes. I said, okay, well, what price you getting it for? And he said, $198. And I said, okay. I said, I'll get a better deal. I know the rep out there. I know the builder. Done tons of business with them. Let me call him up. He said, all right. I said, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. So I called up Carrie, the rep, and I said, hey, Carrie, what's the best deal? And I told him the situation. He said, I'll give it to you for $193. And I said, okay, with the garage door opener, right? He said, yes. So I called the gentleman back up, and I said, hey, Joe, it's Lance. I talked to Carrie. I could get it to you for $193 plus the garage door opener. So he yelled at his wife, and he said, hey, you could get it for $193. And you could hear his wife getting upset in the background. And I said, hey, put Jennifer on the telephone. I want to talk to her. And so Jennifer gets on the telephone, and she's like, I don't know how they could do this. How could they afford to give it to us for $198 and you for $193, and they have to pay your commission? So I told her how the whole commission thing worked. And I said, Jennifer, let me ask you a question. I said, how many homes have you ever bought through this builder? And she said, well, none. I said, you think they might know that? And she said, well, yeah. And I said, okay, well, in the next 10 years, how many homes or people are you going to refer to them? And she said, well, probably none. I said, yeah, you think they know that? I said, last year I sold 17 homes through this builder. The average sales price of $250,000 with a 20% spread. Do the math. I said, do you really think you could get a better deal than if I walk in there and try to get it? I said, you better bet the builder knows who I am and not who you are. And I didn't mean that in a bad way. And they understood it, and then they ended up buying the home. Very happy. It's just, it's how the game works. All right, so again, your decision, whether you use a real estate agent or not. Now, I will say this. If you're going to use a real estate agent, don't just pick any real estate agent. Pick someone who does business, that knows what they're doing, that understands how this game, and I hate to say it, but how this game works. That's what it is. I mean, I've gone to lunch, I've gone to dinner, I've gone to sporting outfits with owners of major building companies, with sales reps, with sales managers. I mean, I've sat down and talked to them about all this. So find someone who knows what they're doing. I mean, that's the best advice I could give you. Okay, how to make the most amount of money when buying a new home. Here's the thing when it comes to new homes. There's different stages of buying a new home. If you want to make the most amount of money, the best thing that you could do is buy the home early in the process, before the builder even gets a model up. And the reason is because if you buy a home early, they're trying to convince you how the development's going to look. They don't really have anything. The streets are cut in, the utilities are cut in. They don't have any, the clubhouse isn't up, the pool or amenities aren't up, nothing's there. They don't even have a model home up. They're usually in a trailer or working out of another location. And it's all about momentum. This is very important. When you're buying a new home, if the subdivision sells when it's new, it's going to sell for resale. If it's slow when it's new, it's going to be slow for resale. So it's all about momentum. Builders want to get momentum. So before they have the model up, they're going to underprice their product because they want offers. Soon as they get the model, they're raising the prices. And then soon as they get a few closings and some homes in the neighborhood, they're going to raise it again. Now, one thing to keep in mind when buying a new home over pre-owned is the new homes more or less drive the market on new and pre-owned. And the reason is because there's more determining factors. If concrete goes up, that's going to affect new homes. If labor cost goes up, that's going to affect new homes. If wood goes up, that's going to affect new homes. That's going to all affect the price. If the government steps in and says, hey, we want your homes to be even greener, that's going to affect new homes and the price of the new homes. So keep that in mind. Again, you get a real estate agent, they could explain all this to you, but there's different times and different levels. If you get in earlier, you're usually just going to make money. There's almost no way you can't. A lot of it also depends on the development. Who's the builder, when I say development, who developed the community. In other words, was it Crown Development or, it may be another developer, and what's their reputation. So that's how you make the most money. Questions for the builders. Basically, here's some things that you need to do and some due diligence. Keep in mind, when you're buying a new home, the sales rep's your best friend until something goes wrong. Because let me tell you what, a builder, like a 2-year-old, the only word they know is no. That's it. That's all they say. Matter of fact, that gentleman that I talked about earlier that bought that new home, I ended up working with him on his home. I went in there, I represented him. We were 3 months in the process of a really good market, and he was, oddly enough, but doing brick on his home. This builder offered that option. He put brick in his home. He called me 3 months later and he said, hey, Lance, he said, they got the brick up on my home. And I said, Dave, that's great. How does it look? And he said, well, it looks great other than it's the wrong it's the wrong brick. And I said, well, did you call Jennifer, the sales rep, and talk to her? And she said, yeah, she can't do anything about it. She called her supervisor and he said, you just come in and get my earnest money back. They would give it back to me. And I said, what do you want to do? And he said, well, heck no, I don't want my earnest money back. He said, the home's gone up $8,000, $10,000. He said, I don't want to have to start all over. Again, it's the easiest thing. Most people will take no. It's just they do. And the builders, they don't really care. In their situation, it behooved them to get rid of this guy because they can make $10,000 more for the home. Basically, a long story short, I stepped in, called the sales manager. We got it done. They pulled off all the brick, put on the new brick. But you need to do your due diligence, especially if you're not working with a real estate agent. In other words, find out on the builder, who is the one, and when I say builder, the company, find out who's actually building the home. So you have the builder, drive around some of their different communities, look and see at the homes and see what the finished product is like. If you see some neighbors out, ask them who built their home and how is the builder, because you don't want to get the wrong builder. Could have been someone else. and then find out the person who's actually building the home, the builder in that subdivision, the superintendent in that subdivision. Find out what subdivisions they've built in before. Go out and look at those. Drive around on a Saturday or Sunday or evening and either knock on doors or ask people what they liked about the builder. I mean, look, everybody loves a builder until they have problems. And you're always going to have problems. It's just a 6 or 7 month process. So it's not if the builder is going to have a problem, it's how they handle that problem. And talk to different homeowners, because there's several things people love talking about. People love talking about themselves, they love talking about their kids, and they love talking about their home. I mean, we've been out, and I've been out with buyers before, and we've talked to a neighbor. They've invited us in their home. They've given us the tour of the home. They love it. So go out and do your due diligence and ask questions, and don't just look at the cosmetic, the bells and whistles. I know everybody loves granite countertops and really nice cabinetry, but get into the nuts and bolts on everything. Get into what they're actually using to build and how good the builder is. So the last thing is warranties. Let me go over warranties. I'm going to give you a tip, a little advice here, and it could save you or make you a lot of money. First off, let me talk about warranties, because there's a big misconception. I talk to people all the time and they say, well, yeah, the builder gave me a year warranty and then I have a 10-year warranty after that. Let me explain what this is. Virtually every builder out there are a couple, but most of them offer a 1-year, basically wall-to-wall warranty. So if anything happens within the first year, the settlement, like that there's nail pops or the doors aren't closing properly or something happens with the home, drainage issues, then the builder's going to go out and make it right. Some builders, a couple of them that I know of, offer 2-year warranties, but most of them offer 1 year. Then most of your appliances are going to be covered anywhere from 3 years to 5 years on generally. Now, the 10-year warranty, when people are buying new homes, that they're talking about is the structural. But here's the trick. When you close in your home, you can probably get a blue warranty book from a company called 210 Warranty. They're the major one, and they offer a 10-year structural. They're going to send you a sticker in the mail that's going to look like junk mail in 2 to 4 weeks. And if you don't have that sticker, that's the validation sticker. If you don't have that sticker on the blue book with your warranty number and everything, you're not going to get covered. And that's just a structural warranty. So don't think it's the warranty to cover the whole house. I've been in hundreds of closings on new homes, and no one ever says anything to homeowners that they have to put that sticker on there. But look, that's why these warranties that they're buying from 210 are like $250, $280. I mean, there's always an out. Okay, so this just sort of FYI. Again, take what I say with a grain of salt there. So here's a tip on new homes. When I say how to get them to cover things outside, I don't mean everything. Let me give you an example. When I bought my new home, I bought it pre-owned. It was 2 years old. And again, it's a Cardell, as you know. We had a flashing issue, and flashing has to do with the roof. And if it didn't get fixed, we would have had a water leak. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So I contacted the other agent and I said, look, the home's out of warranty, but have the seller call Cardell, explain when they put the roof on and did the flashing, the company that did it did not do it right. It's not my fault that they didn't do it right. They need to come out there and do it properly. Guess what? Well, he didn't think that would ever work. Cardell would ever do anything like that because they were outside of warranty. They did. I've had other issues where I've owned homes and I've had shingles blow off of roofs 3-4 years after owning it. The builder ran out there the next day that did it. I had a builder, big national builder, that I had a client that bought a home. They had a lot of cracks in the stucco because they did a poor stucco job. The builder came out, re-stuccoed the entire home, and painted the entire home. I could go on and on and on about this. Granite, roofing issues, other stucco issues. It's really knowing what to say and how to say it. And a lot of it, quite frankly, just has to do with the luck. Do they still use that, example, if it's a roofing issue, does the builder still use that roofing company? Because if they do, all they're doing is calling up the roofing company and said, hey, you screwed up this roof 4 years ago, go make it right so we have a happy client. So that's basically a tip. Keep that in mind. A lot of people don't really realize that, but that's how it works. Again, I hate to say it, but it's all sort of a game. You need to know. And unfortunately, I've heard dozens upon dozens of stories from homeowners that have bought and build jobs, or either from maybe from the inception of the subdivision to the maybe it was virtually complete, or it was an inventory home. All kinds of war stories. I mean, people that didn't know how to get deals, or they didn't understand what the builder was doing, or the builder basically just put in all the wrong light fixtures and wouldn't change anything. They said the buyer could come in and get all their earnest money back. Because look, let me tell you this, and I'll wrap it up with this. Builders have exits on virtually every aspect of that contract. Keep in mind, that's not the state contract. That's not your contract. It's not your title company's contract, or your lender's contract, or your attorney's contract. That's the builder's contract. And when push comes to shove, the builder will do what's best for the builder. I don't care what they say. Again, believe me, their favorite words no. And that sales rep is taking the side of who's putting the butter on their bread. So I would say definitely, I hope this helped you. Get a real estate agent. Hopefully someone knows what they're doing. If you have any questions for me at all, feel free to call or email me. And that should be it. If you have any questions on anything, go to my YouTube channel where the little search is. It looks like a magnifying glass. Just type it in there, and hopefully I've answered it for you as far as what CDD fees are, how property taxes work, etc. Or the city. I'm doing a lot of city videos and subdivision videos. All right, I hope this helps. Have a wonderful day, and I'm sure I'm going to get done with this and there's going to be something I forgot about, but hopefully not. Okay, I hope this helps you. Goodbye.